All right, so we should have our sketch cube built and properly dimensioned here. What I would like to show you is how to take this object and create a drawing file from it. If you have not done so, make sure you save this sketch cube. Start getting in the habit of saving your files early on while making them and continuously saving them while you're making them. So first of all, we're going to go to File. If you have not done so, let's do a Save or Save As, and save it in a folder where you know how to find it again. I have a special practice folder, and I have something called SketchCube. So I'm going to save it as SketchCube in a folder that I know how to access. Hit Save. Hit OK on these things. You should not get those. I'm going to cancel out because mine's already saved, but make sure you save your SketchCube. Now to create our drawing file, I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to hit New. We have lots of options. I'm going to come down here to Standard IDW. This is an Inventor drawing file. Notice I have one for Marymount. We might talk about that if time allows, but for now, let's hit Standard IDW and Create. And it brings up a piece of paper we can draw on. Now this paper is a little large for us, so the first thing I want to do is change the size of this paper. To do that, I come over to Sheet 1, and I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to Edit Sheet. So I right-click on Sheet 1, Edit Sheet, and I want to change the size. It's currently a D, that's normal for engineering. For us, I want to change it to size A, and hit OK. Now this takes up a lot of space. We're not going to worry about that for right now. Later on we can adjust that if we need to. But I want to put a multi-view sketch of my sketch cube up here. To start the multi-view drawing, I go to Base. If your sketch cube is already pulled up, the front view should pop up. Otherwise you're going to hit this little icon and then you're going to go to your sketch cube, select it, and open it. And all we need to do for us, this is pretty big for this piece of paper. I'm going to scale it down. I want it to be 0.75 or 3/4. I can do 3/4. Notice the size changed already. The size changed already. I could also just type in 0.75. And the size stays the same because 3/4 is the same as 0.75. We can make it bigger if I put in a 2. Now it's twice as big. We don't want that though. We want to keep it 3/4 or 0.75 and hit OK. Here's the front view of my sketch cube. Now remember, multi-view sketches have a front, have a top, have a right view, and then normally an isometric view. So let's get those in here now. To do that, I go up here to Projected. I'm going to hit Projected. And without even clicking anything, just bringing my mouse over to the paper automatically puts these views in. Here's my top view, here's my right view, here's an isometric view. I could even do a bottom view or a left view if I wanted to. For us, I just want a top view, so I'm going to slide this up here. I haven't clicked anything yet. And when I get it where I want it, I'm going to click once. I just clicked once and it puts a little square over here. I'm going to do my right view the same way. I'm going to put it where I want it and click once. I'm going to come up in the corner for my isometric view and click once. So I'm not holding the mouse button down. I only clicked once. I could do more views if I wanted, but at this point I'm done and I want to create these multi-views. So I'm going to right-click the mouse button and hit Create. And here are my multi-view drawings. Very quick. Everything's lined up accordingly. There's hidden lines where we need hidden lines. And that's our multi-view drawing. We do want to dimension this drawing, so that's what we're going to do next. But beforehand, what I think makes this look nicer is if we added tonal shading to our isometric view. So to do that, I'm going to double-click in this space. See how it has this red border around it? I don't want to click outside the border because I'm not selecting it. And if I click on the object, it ends up just selecting the lines. So I kind of want to click in this space within the red border, but not on the object. And I can double click right there. And that'll allow me to edit this one view. Again, I could make the scale bigger if I wanted. I could give it a name. We could call it isometric. We could call it SketchCube. All I want to do here is come up here to where it says shaded, this little box. And I'm going to click it. Now it has a light blue background. And I hit OK. Now my isometric view is shaded, and I think that looks nicer. Last thing we want to do is add dimensions to these views. To add dimensions, I come up to Annotate. Annotate means if you remember from our sketching, is where you write on things. So we want to annotate, we want to add writing, we want to add text to this. And I want to add some dimensions. Remember, Inventor, top left, big buttons are the important ones. So if I hit Dimension, very similar to how you dimensioned the sketch cube when you created it, I'm going to add dimensions to my multi-view drawings. Let's just do one. I want to know the width of this sketch cube. The width is in between these two lines, these two edges. So with dimensioning highlighted, I select one line, I click once, I'm not holding the mouse button, select the other line, and then I'm going to drag down. So again, I click once, drag down, and it tells me this is 2 inches. And I can put this 2 anywhere I want. I can put it up here, I can put it in here. But remember dimensioning rules. You don't want your dimensions on the object. So I'm going to put it down here. And notice it turns these become dotted lines. Inventor tells you it's the proper distance away from the object. So once it's dotted, I'm going to select once, and we should be good to go. If this screen came up, that's okay. All you need to do is click OK. But notice this box right here is not edited, or is not checked. If this is checked, this screen pops up every time. So you want to make sure this is unchecked. And I'll show you that one more time on our next dimension. Dimension is still highlighted. Let's go ahead and do another dimension. I would like to know the distance that this little knob comes out. So I'm going to hit this line, and again, bring it on down. And I'm going to bring it on down all the way to the bottom and hit right here. This edit dimension screen pops up because this is checked. I'm going to uncheck this to make sure this doesn't pop up again. But if it does pop up, you just hit OK. Okie dokie. Great. Now notice this 0.5 and this 2 are kind of close together. I don't like the way that looks. I would like to move this 0.5 to the other side. Notice if I click on it, this little dialog box pops up. To move this 0.5, we have to get out of dimensioning. So to get out of dimensioning, 2 ways to do it. I can hit the ESC button, top left corner on my keyboard, or I can right click and hit OK. No dimension is no longer highlighted. Now if I click and drag, I can move this little dimension wherever I want. So I'm going to move it outside here, a little farther away from the 2. Let's add more dimensions. I'm going to come to dimension again. And I would like to know the height of this whole thing. I could add the height on this front view. I could also add the height on this right view. I think I'll do it on the front view though. We still have some room over here. So to do the height, I'm going to click the top line, click the bottom line, and bring it on over till it turns dotted and select. And there's the dimensions for the width and the height. I think we're good on this front view. I do want to add dimensions for this circle. What is the diameter of this circle? Dimension is still highlighted. To get the diameter of a circle, notice when I highlight it, I get this little circle icon that pops up next to my mouse. All I need to do is click anywhere on the circle and drag out, and it will automatically tell me the diameter of this circle. When you're doing diameters or radiuses for circles, you don't want straight lines like this for your dimensions. I want it at an angle. So I could put it up here, I can put it down here, and I'll just leave it right there. And click. And now I know this circle has a diameter of 1 inch. Let's come up here. We need to do some dimensionings up here. We need to also get the diameter of this top circle. So I'll do the same thing. I will click anywhere on the circle. I don't like to click where it's green. I like to click somewhere where it's not. That green dot is not helpful. Not for right now. So I'm going to click over here, and I'm going to bring down this 1 inch diameter and click again. Now I know the circle's 1 inch. I'm also going to dimension how far out this little knob comes. So we're going to do a dimension. Hit this line, bring it on out till it turns dotted, and that looks good. If I wanted to, I could bring this 0.5